I thought she left me for fame. I thought I'd never see her again. But at 2 a.m., under a broken streetlight, she came back with a suitcase and a choice. The night she asked if there was space in my bed, it wasn't supposed to mean anything. At least that's what I told myself. It was late October in Chicago. The kind of cold that doesn't just touch your skin. It slips under your jacket, through your ribs, and sits heavy in your chest. I had just gotten home from a 12-hour shift at the auto shop. Grease still under my nails. Shoulders aching. Apartment quiet as always. That silence had become normal. Too normal. I dropped my keys in the bowl by the door and flipped on the kitchen light. The bulb flickered twice before staying steady. I made a mental note to replace it. I never did. I poured myself a glass of water and stood by the window overlooking the street. That's when I saw her, standing under the broken street lamp. Hair loose. Suitcase beside her. Arms wrapped around herself like she was trying to hold her world together. Lena. I hadn't seen her in 3 years. 3 years since she left Chicago chasing something bigger. 3 years since she told me I was too comfortable, too safe, too small for her dreams. And now she was standing outside my building like she'd never left. My heart didn't ask for permission before it started racing. I grabbed my jacket and ran downstairs. When I stepped outside, she looked up. Same eyes. Same soft brown that used to look at me like I was her entire universe. Hey, she said. Just hey. Like she hadn't shattered me. What are you doing here? I asked. Her lips curved into a tired smile. I was hoping you'd still live here. I do. She hesitated. Looked at the building. Then back at me. Is there space in your bed? There are moments in life when time pauses, when your brain freezes, but your heart answers first. I could have said no. I should have said no. But instead, I heard myself ask, "Are you staying forever?" Her expression changed. Not playful anymore. Not casual. Serious. That depends, she said softly. Is there space for that too? We didn't talk about what happened 3 years ago that night. I carried her suitcase upstairs. She stepped into my apartment slowly, like she was walking into a memory. Everything was mostly the same. Same couch. Same coffee table we bought at a garage sale. Same scratch on the wall from when we tried to move a bookshelf without measuring. You didn't change much, she whispered. I guess I was waiting for something, I replied. She didn't ask what. I gave her my bed. Took the couch. Around 2 a.m., I heard her footsteps. Then her voice. Soft in the dark. There's room, she said. Stared at the ceiling for a long second. Then I got up. We lay side by side. Not touching. Just breathing in the same space. The familiarity was dangerous. The warmth was worse. Why did you really come back? I asked. She took her time answering. Because the bigger world wasn't warmer. Lena moved to Los Angeles chasing acting auditions, modeling gigs, parties with people who had more followers than friends. At first, it looked glamorous. I saw the pictures online. Rooftop pools. Beach sunsets. Expensive dresses. But pictures lie. I kept thinking once I made it, I'd feel whole. She whispered into the dark. But the only place I ever felt whole was here. With me? I asked quietly. With us. That word almost broke me. The first few days were awkward. We were two people who used to know everything about each other, now tiptoeing around old wounds. She got a job at a small bookstore down the street. Said she wanted something simple. Something real. I'd come home from work and she'd be curled up on the couch reading. The apartment didn't feel empty anymore. It felt alive. One night, we cooked pasta together. Burned the garlic. Laughed like we used to. And that scared me. Because hope is dangerous. A week later, I found the letter. It was tucked inside one of her books. An envelope with a California address. I didn't mean to read it. But I did. Final callback. Lead roll. Shooting begins in January. My chest tightened. She hadn't told me. That night, I didn't ask about it. But she must have seen the change in me. You read it, she said softly. I nodded. You're going back, I said. She walked closer. Close enough that I could feel her warmth. I don't know, she whispered. Yes. You do. Tears filled her eyes. I thought if I came back first, if I knew there was space here, I'd be strong enough to choose. Choose what? I asked. She looked at me like the answer was obvious. You. Love isn't just about staying. It's about sacrificing. I didn't want to be the reason she gave up her dream. And I didn't want to be the man she resented 5 years later. If you stay, I said carefully, I need to know it's not because you're scared. I'm not scared, she replied. Then what are you? She paused. Tired of chasing applause from strangers. When the only voice I ever wanted to hear was yours. The night before her flight back to LA, we didn't sleep. We talked about everything. The night we first met at a 4th of July party. The time we got caught in the rain and danced anyway. The fight that ended us. I was scared of being ordinary, she admitted. And I was scared of losing you, I said. You did. Yeah. Silence. Then she reached for my hand. There's space in your bed, she whispered again. Squeezed her fingers. There's space in my life, I corrected. The airport goodbye felt like déjà vu. Except this time, there were no angry words. No slammed doors. Just understanding. If you get the role, I said, you take it. And if I don't? Then maybe Chicago isn't done with you. She smiled through tears. And you? I'll be right here. 3 months passed. Winter came heavy and brutal. I worked. Slept. Replayed memories. Then one night, my phone rang. Lena. I didn't get it, she said. My heart twisted. I'm sorry. I turned it down. Silence. What? They offered it. I said no. Why would you? Because I realized something standing in that studio. She interrupted. I don't want a million people watching me. I just want one person choosing me. My throat closed. And are you? I asked. I'm at O'Hare, she replied. I didn't even hang up. I just grabbed my keys. She stood in the arrivals terminal. No suitcase this time. Just a backpack. When she saw me, she didn't hesitate. She ran. And this time, when she asked, "Is there space in your bed?" I didn't answer with words. I kissed her. A year later, we painted the apartment walls. 2 years later, we moved into a small house near the lake. 3 years later, she opened her own bookstore. And every night, when she curls beside me, she still whispers the same question: "Is there space?" And every time, I answer the same way: "For you? Always." Because sometimes love isn't about finding space. It's about deciding who you're willing to make room for forever. The end.